Welcome to the Travel Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Aylin Blanco. I interview successful industry professionals and share my personal journey to becoming a travel agent. The show is for aspiring travel agents and travel professionals at every level. My mission is to uncover the universal keys to thrive in this business. Join me as I take a closer look into the life of a travel agent. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Travel Agent Podcast. Today, we have yet another amazing guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kyle Nichols. I am a travel advisor, franchise owner with Cruise Planners based in Orlando.
All right, so I love hearing the stories, so I want you to tell me how you got started.
So I kind of have a little funny story of how I got started. So originally, I've been kind of in the travel and tourism industry for most of my life, in different capacities, not necessarily as a travel advisor, but one of my college professors, I went for travel and tourism and hospitality management to Johnson Wales University. And one of my professors who taught me everything I knew about the cruise industry, really, I used her as my travel agent and wanted to do a bunch of family vacations and whatnot. So used her then because I'm always the family planner. Ha ha ha, here I am all over again. But anyways, used her. And a few years after our last cruise, I got a random email, like birthday card. I knew it was like an automated system. It just felt so genuine that stuck in the back of my head for like the next few years. And for the next few years in the middle of the night, like when I couldn't sleep and my brain is going 400 miles a minute, I would randomly just think about it. And then eventually I'd fall asleep and 2 or 3 weeks would go by and it'd happen again. Well, during the pandemic, before the pandemic, I was working for Disney Weddings here at Walt Disney World. And I got furloughed, obviously. Almost everybody on property did. So I had a lot of time on my hands. In the first month of the shutdown, I cleaned the house and did every house project known to man. In the second month, I watched everything on Netflix. And by the third month, I was like, I don't know if I'm going back to work. I don't know if my job's going to be there. Like, if I'm going to have all this time to do something, I might as well make it useful. And it gave me so much time to also like sit there and think about where I had been and what I've done up to this point, and like, oh, if I stay on autopilot this much longer, like this isn't exactly what I thought I was going to be doing and where I was going to be at this point. So the pandemic for me really like gave me that time and that opportunity to jump back into the industry in a different manner than I had before, but gave me that time to kind of catch back up with the industry and all the changes and everything that had happened since I kind of veered out for a little bit. And then so that way when the world did start running again, I was up and running with them and I wasn't trying to like crawl and keep up with some of these other people around me.
So, what was that experience like when you were like, I'm gonna I'm gonna do this on my own?
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Okay. So I'm a millennial and I have the number one trait that people make fun of millennials for: hate being on the phone. If you call me, I mean, outside of clients, if you call me, I will literally watch it ring to text you back. I hate being on the phone. So I'm not even kidding you. That was the number one concern I had about like starting this adventure, is like I just honestly hated being on the phone. So to like go from like being that way to literally having to be on the phone pretty much all of the workday was a big change for me. And it sounds so stupid, but it was a weird hang up for me. I don't know why.
Oh, I know lots of you who watched me go to voicemail. So don't appreciate it, but that's another topic. So, unlike a lot of other travel professionals who kind of start, you had a little bit or a lot of it of experience in the industry in general. So, what were the things that you think kind of propelled your business immediately while, it takes some other people like years to get to where you are?
I think I had the foundation in place already for how the industry works. Specifically from a cruise perspective, I used to work for Carnival back at the Triumph time period. So I knew how the back ends of all these systems work. I know what they're going in to do and click and move around and everything. So I really knew from a TA perspective, when I need help and I call into a vendor or whatever, I know what they're looking at and how to, if I get somebody new for the most part, like how to help them through what I need them to do. So I think that was super helpful, especially knowing all the lingo and knowing how to deal with groups and just that initial base. Because I think that initial base of like knowledge and understanding of how the industry works can really overwhelm people. I mean, even for a seasoned person, and I'm not saying that I am, but any other seasoned person, I mean, there's way too many things out there for us to be able to know, but keep track of, keep updates on. Like, there's just too much happening at any point. So to just kind of have that underlying knowledge coming in was super helpful for me.
So, what is your specialty?
I love doing cruises just for me because they are point and click and I know them like the back of my hand. But I also love doing FIT for Scandinavia. I did a study abroad in Sweden. I used to live there, traveled all over. So like in a different life, I will be born in Sweden and I will be working at my little coffee shop.
That's amazing. So, I saw on the internet and that you won an award. And I'm really just first I want you to talk about the award, but then I kind of want you to talk about what this journey has been like and what that meant to you.
Well, thank you for bringing that one up. I am always shy when this gets brought up. So I just won. Well, I didn't really win. I was included in Travel Agent Central's 30 under 30, like top agents in the country. So that was a shock to have gotten that email. My home franchise, put me in for that, which felt incredible because I'm a very new fish in a pond that has thousands of people. So for them to have thought that I was worthy of that was very humbling because sometimes I think we all look at ourselves and we're like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough. I could be doing so much more. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to change. And push comes to shove, and we don't get to all of those things. So when somebody else, especially a company that you haven't really been around that long, put you up for something like that against a like nationwide draw, it was pretty humbling and it made my parents very happy.
Well, I was super proud because I have been following you on the internet for a while. So, speaking of being very new, how long have you had your agency?
So I bought my agency February of 2020. So literally right at the shutdown. Was not planning for that to happen, but it just roll with it, right? Pivot.
That is so crazy. But you know what? I have interviewed and spoke with enough people that people who started when people started when the pandemic started. Yeah, that made sense. Um really are doing well, way better than those who started before just because I feel like we kind of jump into things and are
Mhm.
learning as we go whereas there was this opportunity for you to get things in order before like the rush came in. Do you feel like that was very similar to how your business kind of progressed, or are you just a natural born rock star?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I absolutely think that was a big part of it. I think all the time that I watched all these more senior agents spend throughout the pandemic dealing with FCCs, calling and like all these changes that had to be done on all of these for all these clients on all these different reservations. I didn't have to do that in the beginning. I didn't have to use all that time for things that didn't necessarily progress my personal self and the foundations of my business forward. Eventually, yes, I had to do lots of those phone calls and lots of figuring out cruise math that we all sit here and scratch our heads at. So eventually I got into that, but I think in the very beginning, before anybody knew what was going on, how to handle any of this, and everybody was just kind of throwing mud up in the air and seeing what was going to happen, I luckily, knock on wood, avoided a lot of that confusion until some people had some things figured out along the way.
So is there anything that you could tell yourself, like your January 2020 self, that you think might be really helpful to someone else who plans on starting? Obviously, not starting or during a pandemic. Is there something that really has stuck with you and that you take with you every day in your business?
Absolutely. I'm a worrywart, so I am if I have a client flying international, I will be up all night long until they text me that they've landed and, like, I their luggage is with them, like, I just freak out about everything. I plan backup plan A, B, C, and D, and I've got it yeah, I go way too far into detail on things that will never happen. So as I am sitting here thinking about, like, am I gonna make myself take this step? Am I not? Am I gonna go back to my quiet life of living and working for someone else, or am I gonna take my life into my own hands? And the the biggest thing I had in the beginning of that was just the anxiety of the unknown and the panic of, like, what if I mess this up? What if I mess that up? I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do so, like, all of those 5 million thoughts that come into your head in the middle of the night, and when you already can't sleep, and now you're definitely not going to sleep. If I could go back and tell myself, like, hey, you're gonna make up a million things that wait, stop wasting time on. You just focus on some of the, like, positives that are gonna come out of this, because that's what you're gonna remember more than anything. Any of the maybe negative things that have maybe popped up here or there, or this one client that had sass, or this one thing that you worked on forever that didn't come out, like, it hails in comparison to the good stuff. So don't worry, don't overwhelm yourself with worry and anxiety, and just go for it. You'll figure it out, you always have.
That's that's so true, because I think it is. It's like you are the facilitator of someone's dream vacation,
Yeah,
and that's a lot of pressure.
along with your own.
Right, right? And so I think that's amazing advice. So I always kind of like to know what you got going on or coming up that you are really excited about, personal or professional.
Professional, I have a quite a few groups that are in the middle of getting finalized right now, so I will be excited when those are finalized, and then we just actually move on to going. I am just going on a sailing this weekend, so I'm ready for some rest and relaxation, but more on, like, a professional level. My husband still has a full-time job. He is the co-owner of the franchise with me, so we have a goal to get his salary in place so that way he can come home too and help me and take some of the workload off of me.
That's always exciting. Being able to get your significant other or your business partner or whoever to be able to be there, because it's just a lot of work and you need help. Like everybody needs
Oh my
help.
god, yeah. Just today alone, I am a little overwhelmed, but we're gonna get it done. We always do, right? We always figure it out.
Yes, we do. And that's one of the things, starting a business doesn't matter what it is that you've had adversity, you've had all kinds of things your whole life and you're still here.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you're gonna be here after whatever's going on today and tomorrow and every day after that.
Exactly, and how many of those things, like, were not in your control versus if you step in and you run the ship, how many of those things are in your control? And can you not manipulate in a bad way, but to work in your favor?
Ain't that the truth?
Well, I'm just so excited that you have chosen to come on the show. It's been a wonderful time. And I plan on following you as I do all my guests because y'all are just really doing amazing things in the industry. And so I just think it's really important that, when people are doing amazing things that somebody should know about it.
That's so
So
sweet of you for doing that. Because yeah, it's a big industry, but it's quiet. And it can be freeing, and it can be also kind of terrifying depending on what kind of personality you are.
very true. And so that is why, like, I wanted to have you on the show, and I'm just really grateful that you agreed. And I'm so excited about your future.
Thank
I
you for
think you're
having me. I
gonna very
appreciate it so much. I love your show.
Aw, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Travel Agent Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Visit thetravelagentpodcast.com for more information about today's episode and other travel agent resources. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for new episodes. Until next time, continue to build a travel business you love.